Welcome back to another session of Dominion Over Finances. I am your host and instructor, Coricka White, and I want to thank you for joining me again. So I wanted to come back on today and I wanted to break down even further what we discussed on last week about letting down your nets. This is the season, my friends. This is the season that you are going to let down your nets. Remember, you are releasing more than one net. You are releasing multiple nets in this season. Last week, we came from the Gospel according to Luke chapter 5, verses 1 through 11. I want to stick here for this session on today. And I want to talk to you and I want to give you the 5 easy steps that you can put into place to let down your nets in 2021. So let's start by defining what the net is. I know maybe from the last session that I talked about, you may have been thinking, what is the net? Like, what is my net? How do I begin to even let down a net when I don't really know what it is? Well, I want to define the net as this. It is the tool. It is the mechanism. It is the technology or the strategy that God is going to allow you to use to extend your reach, to grow in your reach within your career, within your business, and within your ministry. So when I'm talking about letting down the net, I'm talking about adapting the tools, utilizing the tools, utilizing the mechanisms, utilizing the technologies and the strategies that you need to employ in order to increase your reach, extend your reach within your career, within your business, and within your ministry. So when you're letting down the nets, that means you are extending your reach and you are in a mode of expansion. So that's what it means about letting down your nets. Letting down your nets is increasing your reach and it is expanding in those areas of career, in those areas of business, and in those areas of ministry. All right, so the 5 key steps in letting down your nets in 2021. The first step is this, and I reiterate, we want to put God at the center. So step number 1 is you want to put God at the center. God wants to be in your business. He wants to be in your career. He wants to be in your ministry. When you invite him into the center, you are not only inviting God in so that he can utilize whatever you are doing to advance the kingdom, but he will in turn bless you. And we see that with Peter. When Peter lent his boat, when Peter lent his ship to Jesus so that Jesus could minister to the people who were following him, God or Jesus then turned around and he blessed Peter. So when you put God at the center of what you're doing, whether it be your career, whether it be your business and your ministry, you are inviting and invoking the blessings of God to rain down upon you. So your first step in letting down your nets in 2021 is putting God at the center. Step number 2 is this. You want to specialize. And I'm talking to you in particular from the thought of, or really, I'm really talking to you from the point of, or from the perspective of your career and your business and your ministry. Okay. So what do I mean about specializing? Look, I know that many of us have multiple talents. Many of us have multiple skill sets. Many of us have multiple things that we want to allow God to use us. But in this season, you must specialize. When you're talking about letting down your nets, what we saw from Peter is that Peter was a fisherman. And so Peter moved in the fishing industry, okay? That was his specialization. The same is for you and I. we want to specialize in this season. So I want you to imagine with me for a bit that even in the fishing industry, Peter was not just simply locked into simply fishing, okay? But within the fishing industry, he even had the opportunity to expand in that maybe his offerings within the fishing industry were things such as fresh fish, right? And then maybe Peter also was able to show people how to cook the fish, right? So now he's got a cooking show on how to prepare fish. Maybe Peter is teaching people how to fish, okay? Maybe Peter is also writing a book on teaching people how to fish. But nevertheless, Peter's specialty was fishing. So Peter operated within that industry. Now, I know some of you are used to talking about, spheres of influence or metron. So when I'm talking about specializing, I'm talking about you moving within a specific industry, you moving and operating within a certain sphere of influence, and you operating within the metron that you have been called to. I will use myself for an example. I know that my sphere of influence is with regard to finances. And so I will operate and specialize within that industry, okay? So I want to tell you in this season, 1, you want to put God at the center, but 2, you want to specialize. And in specializing, you will continue to build up the disciplines that are necessary so that you can grow and expand and effectively let down your nets in 2021. So step number 3 to letting down your nets in 2021 is this. You want to team up. You want to team up. Now is not the time for you to do this solo gig, okay? You will not be a solopreneur this year. You will not work yourself into a frenzy in this season, but rather you're going to team up with people that have certain expertise, that have certain skill sets that will allow you to extend and further your reach in your career, in your business, and in your ministry. So with regard to your career, what does teaming up look like? Teaming up means that maybe you have a career coach, or maybe you team up with a mentor, and they will help you to extend your reach and to continue to grow in your career. Now, when we look at this particular story in the Bible and we look at Peter had business partners. So in business and in ministry, perhaps you will partner with certain people. Perhaps you will team up with particular leaders in a particular industry or in a particular ministry. This will allow you to team up. And in teaming up, now you can continue to let down your nets, or rather extend your reach in this season. When you fail to team up, you don't allow yourself to effectively utilize the resources that are available. And guess what you do? You wear yourself out. And trust and believe, I have been there before. So you want to make sure that you are teaming up. You want to make sure that you are teaming up with the right people, with trusted individuals in this season, so that you can let down your nets. Step number 4 is this. You want to scale up. You want to scale up. So remember now, in teaming up, it helps you to not only effectively utilize the skill sets of those that you team up with, but it also allows you to, it frees up your time, okay? It frees up your time. So now you're not the only person that is actually working on your career or helping you to work on your career. You're not the only one that is helping you to build your business. You're not the only one that is helping you to build up the ministry, but you've got a team doing that. And in having a team, that team will effectively allow you to scale up. That means that you are continuing to expand and extend your reach, not just in your career, but in your business and in your ministry. So in letting down your nets, you want to put God at the center. In letting down your nets, you want to specialize. In letting down your nets, you want to team up. In letting down your nets, you want to scale up. Now, also in scaling up, guess what? You've got to embrace technology, okay? You have to embrace technology because, again, in combination with teaming up with the right individuals and partners and in embracing technology, it's going to continue to allow you and free up more and more of your time. And in freeing up more and more of your time, you can focus on the efficacy and the efficiency of your businesses and of your career and of your ministries. So when you are scaling up, you are adopting technology. When you are scaling up, you are also systematizing the certain processes that you need within your business, the certain processes that you need within your ministry. So scaling up requires not only that you team up, but scaling up requires the adoption of technology, and scaling up requires that you also systematize. So you want to systematize and make automatic as much as possible so that you are effectively scaling up and extending your reach for your career, extending your reach for your business, and extending your reach for your ministry. The last step in letting down your nets is making it a family affair. We see in this story that Peter had partners, but those partners, guess what? Those partners were brothers. Those partners that he had in his business were brothers, okay? James and John. And so it is biblical. It is biblical, and it is a biblical principle that we leave an inheritance to generations that come behind us. So in this season, when you are building businesses, when you are building ministries, it behooves you to make it a family affair. Don't go it alone. Bring in those trusted family members. And I say trusted now, okay? Because look, I know sometimes we have messy family members. I will acknowledge that. Just like we got messy friends and everything else. But we want to invite those family members who are trusted, those family members who are interested, those family members that we know can carry on the legacy. We want to bring them into what we are doing from a business perspective and from a ministry perspective. Notice here, though, that I didn't say you can bring your family in on your career. And oftentimes, we take a lot and we devote a lot of our time and our energy and our efforts to our careers, but we can't necessarily pass on a job. And I've said this before. We can't pass on a job and we can't pass on a career to family members. And so in step number 5, and in letting down your nets in this season, and in making it a family affair, think about a family business. Think about a family ministry that you can have so that you are leaving an inheritance. You are leaving a family legacy to those who are coming behind you. All right, my friends, let's go down those 5 steps again. 1, it is putting God at the center. 2, it is specializing. 3, you are going to team up with those trusted business partners, the trusted mentors and coaches that you need so that you can get your career and business off the ground. Number 4, you are scaling up. So that means that not only are you teaming up with the right people, but you are embracing the technology. You are embracing the systems that you need so that you can further extend your reach in your career, in your business, and in your ministry. And lastly, you are making it a family affair so that you can effectively establish the legacy and leave a legacy behind even when you leave this earth. So I hope this has been a blessing. I hope that both last session on letting down your nets was a prophetic word, and I hope it really spoke to where you are in this season. And I hope in this session I was able to give you even more practical steps and tools that you can use to let down your nets in 2021. Thank you for joining me again today, and I hope to see you again next week.
It's the tool, it's the mechanism, it's the technology, it is the strategies that God is going to allow you to use to extend your reach. He wants to be in your business. He wants to be in your ministry. When you invite him into the center, you are not only inviting God in so that he can utilize whatever you are doing to advance the kingdom, but he will in turn bless you. It requires the adopting of technology, and it requires, Lord, I done forgot the daggone thing. So you're going to be laughing at me because I said it and then I forgot it. So we're going to have to cut that piece out.